Well, good morning.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
It's 11th Hour Radio. And you know what? As usual, there's a technical difficulty, which is that my recording device is only getting one channel. So just give me a second. But you could introduce yourself, John, because
Am I on?
Yeah, you're not Emily.
I'm not Emily.
You're not, which is really throwing me off. But
Emily's husband, so
yeah.
Close.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to cut to a song right now because I need to fix this technical problem, and I'd rather not, tie up everybody else with it. So here we're going to cut to a track of music. was Rick Zabalos, who's a banjo player from Bristol, Vermont. And I think we're just going to start the show again because I have successfully eliminated the technical problem that occurred before. So we can just pretend that it didn't happen. And it certainly wasn't as bad as last week's problem.
Yes,
right?
that sounded
right. Yeah.
Well, they were 2 weeks, right, in a row.
Yeah, 2 weeks in a row, our rebroadcast just started playing on top of our live show. Now that was different. That was
Double
different.
exposure. It sounds like, what is it called? The singularity? When robots take over the world, or thinking computers. When
Really?
computers start to think and they're like, we don't want you to do your show live, Kristina and Emily. We're just going to play old shows. It's
That's
coming.
it. Yeah, or else it's a sign from the cosmos. You know, not just robots. It could be coming from a higher power. That somehow we're living in parallel universes. How about
There's
that?
a god for computers.
Yeah. But suppose if you had all these different lives going on simultaneously and you smush them together, what would you get? Ever thought about that?
Wait, why are they smushing all these lives together?
Well, you always think of parallel lives as sort of existing and separate from each other. But how could that
You
be?
do. Is
I
like there's a
do.
parallel you somewhere, or reincarnated, or there are other people out there, or
Well, this is really sort of a mathematical question that if there are all these parallel universes where it's all happening at once, then what happens when you smush them all together? That's really my question.
or when they bump up into each other, right?
That's
Yeah.
a black hole
Oh, it is.
where they bump up.
No, when
Yeah.
extraterrestrials actually find us, where are they in their advancement?
Well,
or
yes.
lack of.
And you can get sucked through, so you might leave one parallel universe and go to the next.
Right.
Or you could go to one that's completely in a different place. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Well, say they're two train tracks, right? I mean, the chances of actually trains being right next to each other is probably pretty remote, but you might find the train tracks, and the two trains could be miles apart.
That's really helping me understand it better.
Is it? I don't think so. No. We're waiting for the train here, right? When does it come?
The train's been coming later and later. So I don't know what that means. Yeah, we've been, every time it goes by later, we look at each other.
So eventually, this is, like some sort of orbit type thing that's not consistent. So eventually, it just won't come at all during the show.
And that will be like the Twilight Zone. So we're kind of building up to that. The train that never came. Yeah, but it's coming, but it never comes.
Or it'll just come in the next show.
Yeah, it'll hop the black hole and come into our show when we least expect it, and the rebroadcast will come on. It's all being run from some universal place of confusion. And so on. As I like to say,
Where's that?
I don't know. I wish I knew. I wish I knew where the control center was for the universe. I'd like to take a visit up there and kind of straighten things out a bit, But anyway, we do the best we can here on 11th Hour Radio, which is what you're listening to on WFBR-LP, South Royalton, Vermont. And we're also streaming live onto the computerized world of the interweb. So, did you know that?
I don't think I did.
Yeah.
I assumed it, but
Yes, the electrons are making their way across the world as we speak.
is there a delay if you're in
I don't know.
Korea? Can you listen right now?
Boy, I just don't know. I bet it's as unpredictable as when someone calls you from, say, Italy, and sometimes it's a perfect connection, and it sounds...
Like your daughter.
Yeah. Yeah, she called me once using WhatsApp, which is it's a phone app, and there was no delay whatsoever. And it's the only time I've talked with her on my cell phone where either my cell phone or the application wasn't giving us a delay, so I was thrilled. But then it never happened again. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Well, my mother's phone is all messed up. So
Is
when
it?
she calls from East Calais, Vermont, there's like a 4-second delay.
Oh, no, really? It's her phone that's
Yeah,
doing
because when
it?
I call her, it's fine. But
It's a landline, huh?
it's funny how we could do a whole radio show where you could have a 4-second delay. It's really irritating, isn't it? When you
I can't even go on when I have delay on the phone at all. It's that could be a very funny comedy routine.
It's probably been done, but it would be funny, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's disorienting when, like, I ask you a question and then you don't say anything, and then I ask a follow-up question just when you start to speak.
That's right.
But you've done recording too. Sometimes when you're recording, if you don't have that sort of
there's a huge amount of right. There's a lot of technical know-how that goes into creating less delay. So,
like if you can hear yourself on the radio and you're also speaking, how that messes you up.
Yeah, they always say, turn your radio down.
Exactly.
On Vermont Edition and those types of things. So, those types of things. Unlike our radio show. We don't have that problem, at least.
Unless, right.
We have lots of other problems.
The week before is playing.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
But you could probably turn it up and we could try it.
No, I don't think I will.
No. It sounds like we're doing acid or something on the show. Or
God, sometimes it feels like it. I have to admit. But for those of you who missed the beginning of the show, which is not really the beginning because now is the beginning, I did introduce John Obrien, who's here with me in Emily Howe's stead. She's on a field trip with third graders.
To the Montshire.
Yeah, bless her.
So I'm here.
Yeah. Are you sorry that you're not on the field trip?
No.
No. Okay. Just checking.
Your list. You have a list.
I have a list with all kinds of extraneous things, and of course your brain will also offer up anything that it wants to, and you have permission to do that at any moment. So, to start off, I wanted to just mention that I had the greatest drive down here because it was so dandelion-y. Have you noticed?
I have.
People are not on top of their mowing yet. A lot of people don't have their mowing machine fixed. You know how they die over the winter sometimes?
Yes,
even if
ours died.
Yeah, I mean, you can tune it up in the fall before you put it away into the basement, and you take it out in the spring and it still doesn't start. So, but one of the fringe benefits is that there's just fields and fields of dandelions that will soon be chopped.
And no one started haying either, really, or chopping, so
yeah.
Those big fields, like the big Howe fields in Tunbridge.
Yes.
Full of dandelions.
And filled probably with little babies of baby animals. Have you ever thought about that?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sure you have.
Rodents, mostly.
Yeah, because you mow, and it happens sometimes you hit something, you hit a nest or something, but...
Lots of, mice, run ahead of you, right, as you sometimes mow.
Yeah, you just tell them psychically to get out of the way. I'm sure you do. You just say, go, go, go. I'm coming.
No.
No, okay.
No, but...
I'm not a farmer.
But what's great is after you mow, or when you rake into windrows, sometimes foxes will come out and either eat the dead mice that you've mowed in half, or now that they're exposed, their little nests, the foxes have good eating.
Gosh, that's way more sophisticated than I even dreamed, than I dared to dream.
I remember picking up bales one night in midsummer, and this huge full moon came up at about whenever, July 4th. So it's late. It's about, 8:30 or 9 o'clock, and this fox came out and was bouncing around, eating these mice. It's pretty great.
Wow. That's awesome.
Probably good for hawks and owls too.
Yeah. Did you have your coffee yet?
Did I? Yes,
yeah?
I had some. Do you have more?
I kind of wish...
a pot? Did you put a pot on? It's like a Western with an operation happening, like a birth or a bullet needs to be taken out. They're always like, put on a pot of coffee.
Exactly. That's so true. Oh my gosh. But of course, Emily doesn't drink coffee, so we don't get into that on the show. But I knew that you are a coffee drinker, and I want to ask you how you make your coffee. What's your technique?
Well, I had like a Mr. Coffee, and it just made worse and worse coffee, so I got rid of it.
Oh.
And, the carafe broke, and that did it.
That'll do it.
And so I just got a French press, which I haven't quite figured out as far as that. The coffee's a little too strong. I mean, it's stronger in general, but...
Yeah. Do you throw the coffee in without measuring, or do you measure?
Yeah, I should probably measure.
I throw mine in. So my coffee's different every day.
Do you use a French press? Or a
No.
little drip thing?
I
or-
do a little drip thing you put on top of your cup.
Yeah. Ceramic or plastic?
Oh gosh, it's neither.
What is it?
It's got a little bit of plastic in it, but it's a kind of a gold mesh. Have you ever seen
yeah,
those?
I have, yeah.
Yeah,
It's gold.
it's gold. It's made out of gold.
That's right.
Yes, it's worth $1 million. Just like that painting that Twombly. Who's that famous artist that just sold a painting for $37 million? Who's dead?
Cy Twombly?
Yeah, that's who it is.
I didn't hear the story.
Oh, I'd never heard of him because I'm so out of the art scene.
I doubt that.
Yeah, there was a very interesting
What,
discussion.
did he have gold in it or something?
I don't think so. I think it was just paint.
Oh,
But it was very valuable.
yeah.
Paint.
Well,
$37 million, man.
if you're a famous painter,
Well, what do you think about that? What do you think about selling a piece of art for $37 million?
yeah.
You should. You're nodding your head
Yeah,
like,
I-
yeah.
Well, or I think there was just a story in the Valley News about George Tooker did these, famous American painter did these paintings for the Catholic Church in Windsor, and they would be worth a lot of money, like that kind of money. And so, do they sell them? Do they keep them there?
Oh. And they're
Or
going to
what
keep.
access does the public have to them? I think they're going to keep them for now, which is great.
Good. So now people know that it's there, though it brought attention to it where a lot of us art thieves would not have otherwise known.
That'd be hard though if your great grandmother had brought back some Renoir or Van Gogh from 1880 and it was worth $50 million. Would you? I mean, it'd be scary to sort of have it for one thing in your house and get it burned down or something.
Well, right.
But also,
they've got to be insured.
you could buy a lot of Martin guitars with $50 million.
Well, right. Actually, I have a couple pieces of artwork that my dad, really just one, a painting that he bought. I have no idea the value of it, but he liked to collect art. I haven't really ended up with any of it except for this one. It's a painting of a voodoo ritual somewhere like Jamaica. It's a very dark painting. I mean, literally and sort of emotionally dark. And so I'd really like to get rid of it. I don't like it.
You
So
think
if
it's worth
anybody
a lot of
wants
money?
it, I have no idea. I don't know how to go about this. Somebody should put a value on it at some point, but I don't know where to go. I know. I'll ask my friend Cynthia, who's a painter in New York City. She'll know how to do it. That's what I should do.
Was it bought in Jamaica or Haiti or West Indies somewhere?
I'm not sure. My dad did spend a lot of time down there at one point, back in the 50s. Puerto Rico, Jamaica, Central America, but
So it might be worth a lot or it might be worth
nothing.
nothing.
Who knows? Yeah. So. Yeah.
But it's my dad, he bought a little something, a guy called Warhol, and
Yeah.
nothing like that.
No.
I always think I'm going to
unfortunately.
find like a really famous painting, or a painting by a famous painter in a thrift store.
See, I think that's what drives a lot of us to poke around thrift stores because you never know what you might find.
It's true, but I haven't found it yet.
But you found good stuff. A lot of good stuff.
Just not a John Marin or a Cy Twombly.
Yeah, well, I'd say keep looking.
Okay.
I know Emily's found some fancy, some name brand boots, right? What was that?
Fries, maybe? I don't know.
No. It was something that people who are into fashion know about.
Manola Blahniks.
What is that?
I don't know. I'm just
Oh.
thinking of,
Did you make that up, or is that a
Gucci,
thing? I
Prada,
see. I
some
see. Ooh,
House of Worth.
I think living in Vermont has definitely handicapped me in certain areas.
But maybe, what's your greatest thrift store find, just money-wise? Like, I found William Klein's a famous photographer, and he did these big, beautiful books of, like, Moscow, maybe New York, maybe Rome, something like that. And I found one $400 book for, like, $4 once. And
Whoa.
I was like, whoa. I was like, whoa, this should not be here.
That's nice, but you haven't sold it. You have it.
I have it.
Yeah, because you like to keep that stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
So something like that. But
I
it doesn't
understand.
happen very often.
Yeah, not really.
You can't think of...
I can't think of anything valuable really that I've gotten. I mean, I've gotten some nice furniture off the side of the road, but not valuable furniture. But it's furniture that's lasted me for 30 years. So mostly that stuff was from Boston, because you know how they put out a lot of stuff on the curb.
Chippendale.
Chippendale, yeah.
Or, do you know that story? I think it's called Parson's Pleasure by Roald Dahl.
No.
Where it's a antique dealer who, out in the hinterlands of England, runs upon this like medieval piece of furniture, and some, mean old cheap farmer has it. And he makes up this story like he just wants the hardware on it. Like he's like, it's not really much, but I'll take the hardware for a little bit of money. And so finally, after this extended negotiations, the farmer gives in and thinks he's making a lot of money off this junky old chest. And the parson goes back to like get his checkbook, and he comes back and the farmer's cut it all into pieces.
Oh, no.
Because he's like, you only wanted the hardware, so I think I ought to burn the rest of it.
That's perfect. Oh my gosh. If only I could be so smart in my life.
How's your vehicle crisis? Or you should probably preface it or explain what your vehicle crisis is. Last time I talked to Emily, you had a vehicle crisis.
Yeah, it was exhibiting, both my vehicles were exhibiting all kinds of aberrant behavior. We seemed to be able to calm down the one vehicle so that now, I don't know how, but it just stopped doing
the truck or the Subaru.
The Subaru stopped doing the one thing that was the most scary thing with the temperature gauge. And it just stopped doing it. I was ready to just lie down and give up on the whole thing because I wasn't really sure how I was going to get another car. So I went into denial, and this is a case where I think denial did the trick. If you do denial in the right way, sometimes things actually do change for the better. So you just have to be judicious about when you go into denial and for how long you stay there, and maybe to have a plan B or C. So if denial isn't working, then you have a practical plan B to go to. I don't know, just a suggestion.
So there was a thermostat problem, and
I don't even know. I think it was an electrical problem. Because there was another electrical problem that actually did get solved by the mechanic. And when that got solved, the temperature gauge started behaving itself.
That's good.
It's so miraculous, all of the ways that things work and don't work.
Well, machines are like that. Don't you think machines are kind of like
A little quirky?
Animals and people, the way that they have good days and bad days, and sometimes they'll break, but other times, right, something that's not working will sort of magically, they'll wake up and they'll feel better, and they'll just go on.
It's electricality. That's a word.
It is.
I'm making it one now. Electricality.
That's good.
I'm surprised it isn't a word, actually. I mean, you would probably say electrical or electricity, not electricality.
Don't you have a vocabulary thing once a week on the show?
Sometimes.
Electricality.
Well, I thought about giving you a spelling word. I thought about a word that I had misspelled this week, but then I thought, no, John's going to know how to spell it. I can usually tell, like I know, generally speaking, I know like 90% of the time I know when I'm going to stump Emily on a word. But I'll try it anyway. Caricature.
I have to spell this? No.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Sure.
I'm not probably very good at spelling in my
She
head.
has to get a pencil or a pen. Do you want?
Yeah.
Here you go. No, it's okay.
Caricature.
Well, give me the first three letters. How about that?
C-A-R.
That's good, because I failed right there.
You said C-H-A-R.
I did. I kept thinking character. So, I don't know what makes a good speller.
I don't know. And certain words are just, they're hard to spell.
They are, and it's very arbitrary.
Daffodil.
That's not hard.
Really? Or broccoli?
Right, you get confused, like how many B's or...
Yeah, exactly.
You said how many C's or how many F's. That is kind of hard. But then another thing I wanted to talk about today was map reading, because that uses a different kind of the brain.
Oh, that's good.
You know?
I love maps.
Yeah. So do you know
Cartographer. Are you a cartographer?
I don't actually make them. I used to make treasure maps.
Oh, nice.
When I was a kid. But no, I'll bet you know that you can get topo maps on paper still up at Capitol Stationers on Main Street in Montpelier.
That's what Emily bought me for Christmas.
Really? Mm-hmm. Which one? Or ones?
I think Vermont, New Hampshire.
What, the whole... Wait a minute, every map?
You know, those sort of plastic bubble ones that actually have
Oh, I
the
love
3D?
those.
Yeah,
I have
they're
that, the
great.
relief map.
Yes.
Yes. I was telling Emily on the show, I think a few weeks ago, that I damaged mine. I don't know what to do now.
Get another one. Go to Capital Stationers. Or repair whatever mountain peak got.
You know what it was? You know what it was? It was a Scutney.
There you go.
I couldn't believe it.
That Monadnock is now a crater.
Yeah. I suppose I could stick some plasticine from underneath and try to fake it.
Right.
But
What happened?
I just kind of pushed something up against it and it cracked. I've had it for years. Somebody gave it to me for Christmas. They bought the 2 parts and glued them together and put them in a frame. But I'm actually talking about paper topo maps.
Right.
Because I just bought 2.
Oh.
I just got 2 quadrants. I think I got part of Barnard. I was trying to get part of the Chattagee area.
Oh, right.
Because we've been exploring.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No Town.
Yeah, but...
And then...
No Town. You know about No Town?
A little bit.
What do you know about it?
There's a road that sort of goes there, and there's no town there.
That's classic.
Fred Tuttle, yeah, used to go, you go down there. It's no town's down there.
Really?
Yeah.
Like, when would he say that? Where would
when
you
we were
guys...
driving by on whatever 107 is that in Stockbridge or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
The access to it there, yeah.
Or you could
And I think
approach-
we went down one day. I was like, come on, we went down.
Stony Brook?
There was no town there, yeah.
How far did you go?
All the way.
What do you mean all the way? Turns into 4th class.
Well, as far as my car would go, or Fred's Chevy Citation. I can't remember what we were driving, but, some
Really?
small car.
Wow. I wonder you can drive up from the Bridgewater side, too, because I think they connect in the middle.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I'm going to study it. I'll let you know. We were
All right.
kind of looking for it, too. So,
Can you read a compass?
no.
I can't.
No, but I should learn. Especially if I'm going to go off the path into the outback. Because I've been doing that a little bit with a friend who's a deer hunter. So he knows what he's doing, but I don't. And what if he died? If he died and we were in the middle of the world?
Or Chattagee.
Yeah.
In no town.
Yeah. But anyway, through my map reading, I realized that my perfect date is getting dinner cooking, getting the glass of wine, and then map reading. That's it, right there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did this happen?
Yeah. And then,
Who knew?
if I
just like, I'm going to whip out my maps now, and this will be the perfect date.
Well, it was kind of a plan, but I didn't realize how deeply fulfilling it would be. And I think if I had known this earlier in my life, my whole life would have gone differently. Just saying.
You would have had better dates.
Yeah.
Always,
yeah.
whatever.
I would have known what to look for. So, too bad there wasn't a map to show me the way.
But you knew you're going to look at like Chattagee map, a map of Chattagee.
We actually were looking at where we had walked.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we had driven first. Of course, you gotta use a motorized vehicle to get in there, but then at some point you got to get out and snoop around. So.
Can you read maps really well?
Pretty well. Getting better.
Because that's
what do you call those lines?
a skill. Like, I guess
Elevation.
Ulysses S. Grant could look at a map and see it sort of in 3D.
That's awesome.
So
yeah.
that helped.
I think it's bringing out some latent skill that I have perhaps from another life because I'm so drawn to it.
And driving, right, or walking. If I have a map, I can sort of visually picture where I'm going, and if I don't, I get really lost.
Yeah, that's what I hate about Google Maps and stuff like that. Even though I was going to say that the Google Maps where you can actually see the terrain and fly above it, those are cool. But I guess I'm not talking about those because those are cool and those can give you a pretty great overview. But the ones that don't give you an overview are the maps that we use on our telephone to get places. And those tend to just narrow you in to the next 5 instructions. And if you zoom out too far, you can't see what's going on. There's a train. Hear it?
There it is.
See? It's late.
Well, I wouldn't know. When's it supposed to come?
Well, it used to come right at 11.
Oh, really? And
Yeah.
now it's
Yeah, it was sort of like, oh, there's the train, and then our
deep into the show.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's kind of weird. But, yeah, 11:30. So their schedule's changed by about a half an hour.
Well, maybe it's like the sun, and it's 2 minutes later every day.
Hadn't thought of it that way.
And then at the solstice, it starts getting 2 minutes faster every day.
We'll have to go look on the Amtrack website and see if that's the case. Because if it was, they'd probably mention that to people who are trying to do trip planning.
Right.
Depends on the time of year.
That Amtrak schedules are based on the sun. It's like Mayan.
Oh, God, that'd be great.
They might be, knowing Amtrak. When's the last time you rode the train?
I rode a train from New Haven to New York. That's how I get to New York now.
You park in New Haven and take the train.
Yeah.
That's a good way to get there.
Yeah, it's pretty easy.
Ed Corin does that.
Yeah.
He told me about it, so I did it once, and it was good. Where do you park? Is there a big parking garage?
Right there.
Right there.
Right there. There's always places in the parking garage. It's not that expensive, and you don't have to think too hard. You don't have to get too stressed out. Mm-hmm. How about you? When did you take the train last?
I can't remember.
So it's been a while, maybe.
Yeah, I used to take the train a lot to New York.
Yeah.
Or Washington or Philadelphia. So
How do
the
you
Montreal or when it went all through the night.
Montreal or
And it was always late or something terrible happened.
yeah. How do you feel now when you go into a big city like New York? You feel confident?
As far as negotiating,
Yeah, like what kind of feeling do you get when you're getting close into the big urban area?
It's always stressful if you're driving anyway. It is, which is why the train's great.
Yeah. I just love that feeling of getting dumped out at Grand Central and walking into the main concourse. It's a rush.
It is.
It's half terrorizing and just half like, wow, I'm in the center of everything that's happening that's important.
It is. And I wish Pennsylvania Station was still there, the old one. Same feeling. These great cathedrals, right? You'd come up from subterranean into these cathedrals of modernity and electricality.
Yes, thank you for remembering my word, because I'd forgotten it already.
Well, Emily and I have been watching Downton Abbey because in Tunbridge everybody does things 5 years late, so we're just getting around to it. So, but it's interesting how I guess it's based in Yorkshire. Downton Abbey's supposed to be in Yorkshire, and there'd just always be like running down to London, which is like a 4 or 5 hour trip or something like that. I mean, I guess on the express it was 3 some hours, but still, it's not as if it's like running down to South Royalton.
No. I mean, that would be like running down to Boston for us.
Right. And imagine every time you wanted to go, you just hop on a train.
Yeah, it's not so easy from here, I don't think.
You can't do it at all.
Can you go to Boston on a train? Let me think about that.
No, unless
Not
you go
directly.
to Springfield.
Yeah, you have to go down, you have to go south, straight south, and then you can head over.
Yeah. And there used to be, right, back in the old days, it was a big run, like probably followed Interstate 89-ish. Ish. I mean, I don't know where it went. Probably over to, Concord, and then from like Lebanon to Concord, and then down. Probably more or less followed the interstates.
Yes, indeed. Very good.
Very good. Look at a map. Don't you love? I mean, those old railroad maps are great. We saw one somewhere that was just unbelievable. It's some like Shelburne Museum might have one that shows all the little trunk railroad lines in the whole United States.
Oh yeah, I have a picture of that in my head. Yeah.
And locals. Have you ever taken the Long Island Railroad?
No.
You know, the conductors shout out the names of all the towns, and it's sort of like poetry slam stuff. They're like, Massapequa and Far Rockaway, or they go through all these great
with an accent probably too.
Yeah, right.
And isn't that funny that in New York there's so many different kinds of accents?
And as they're doing that, right, then there's the train going. So there are all these sort of neat sounds.
Yeah, it's a real soundscape.
It is.
Well, let's see. I think it's about time for us to play a track of music. And And fittingly, this track of music I've queued up is called Everyone's Insane.
Why is that fitting?
Oh, I don't know. You just feel that way sometimes, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is my cousin, Steve Mayone. Everything's insane.
Washed up, I don't care. Can't find you anywhere. Tumbling down a set of stairs like a bowling pin. Lost my ace, I got no queen. Where the hell have I been? Drinking with jokers, sleeping with sin, or the shape I'm in. Everyone's insane, baby. Yeah, everyone's insane. Just got yourself to blame for this mess. Oh, I'm out of my tree, but in friendly company. Yeah, I'm down on my knees, begging you. Is it me, baby? That's the only freak. Take a look down your street. Isn't everyone you meet crazy too? Everyone's insane, baby. Yeah, everyone's insane. Just got yourself to blame for this mess. Everyone's insane. Just got yourself to blame, baby. Just got yourself to blame. This town is so insane, baby. This town is so insane. You gotta leave before it's too late, baby. You gotta leave before it's too late. Hey, hey. Hey, hey.
All right, that was Steve Mayone, my cousin. He's kind of cool. Lives in Brooklyn.
Brooklyn. That's what my t-shirt says. But my mother was from Brooklyn and my grandmother.
Is that an old t-shirt? It looks kind of old-fashioned.
I think it's a new-ish t-shirt that wants to be vintage-y.
Yeah, because I don't know what it is. I think it's the writing.
Brooklyn Dodgers.
That's it.
Like that.
It looks baseball-y.
Right.
But it doesn't say Brooklyn Dodgers. It just says Brooklyn, New York.
Right. But I think the Dodgers font looks like that, too.
Oh, that's so smart the way they do that. They really elicit these old memories that we don't even know we have. The subterranean ones, you know. But
I thought we could talk about sports.
No.
But I thought we could because you and Emily probably never talk about sports.
Well,
and
she
so
tried.
What could I bring to the show that never's been talked about?
But I'll tell you what. She starts and tries to, and I shut her down.
You did. I knew it was.
Yeah, it's me. It's more me than her. She likes to talk about the kids playing sports and all that.
Oh,
which
that's
is
true.
Harmless. But
But how about those Red Sox, right?
Yeah.
Or you grew up in Ithaca. Did you play hockey or lacrosse?
You know, I was of that era that girls' sports were still not important. And so I got shut down from playing the things that I wanted to play.
What do you want to play?
I wanted to play basketball. I wanted to play baseball. And I remember in elementary school having a having a one-to-one conversation walking down the hallway with my principal saying, this isn't fair. I was protesting about how sports were denied girls.
Like girls couldn't play Little League.
Yeah. And he was smiling. He had a bemused look on his face. And I did like the guy. He was a very sweet person, but it still at that time wasn't really taken seriously. Somehow I did manage to be on a basketball team, and I didn't play baseball really. But I used to try to wrestle down some of those boys because I was mad at them. I just went around being mad. So I'd pick on them. I actually was a bully of sorts, but mostly just to boys.
Playing sports, you would wrestle
Boys that
them?
were smaller than me.
Which there are probably a lot of, right? Because girls mature faster. So.
I don't know. It was bad.
So you had bad sports experiences.
Yeah, so that's why I don't want to talk about sports, really.
And your parents didn't follow sports?
No.
No.
Are you kidding me?
They didn't. They weren't like hockey fans or
Oh my gosh. No, my dad was so unsporty.
even like the Olympics they didn't follow when they came around.
No. Nothing.
Chess,
No.
curling.
No. Actually, I think my mom did play field hockey
There you go.
in England or
Really?
Canada or somewhere.
Right. They play and the men play field hockey really in all those British colonies. But we probably shouldn't talk
All those British colonies
former
like
British
South
colonies.
Africa.
They do. I just read about a guy. What was his name? Richie McCaw in Sports Illustrated. I was looking at old Sports Illustrated, and they had this. Serena Williams was Sports Person of the Year, and they had famous people who were retiring, and this guy from New Zealand was like the most famous rugby player ever, and I had never heard of him. You probably don't follow rugby, but most people don't. But in New Zealand, it's a really big deal.
Yeah.
They're the best.
They're the best.
The All Blacks, their team.
Now, you see, somehow you've gotten us talking about sports against my will.
We can go to New Zealand. But, this little country of 3 million plays all these places like United Kingdom or England and France and beats these countries with 70 million people.
Wow. All I can say is wow.
Well, you wonder, like, if we were really into, like, what's a really obscure sport?
Sheep herding.
Okay.
Right?
Right. So we could...
I've heard that you do a little sheep herding.
Well, not really.
Not competitively?
Sheep herding, right, competitive sheep herding. So, right, we would beat Australia and New Zealand and England or Scotland, right, with little Vermont with only
Vermont could get on the world map.
700,000 people have the best sheep herders in the world.
Yeah.
But it would mean every kid in every town would have to be a sheep herder.
Why not?
Well, we could, but we don't really have that tradition.
Well, I wanted my son to get into, what do you call it when dog trials, when you take
Sheep dog trials?
Yeah, because I love that. There's something about it that I think is great. I thought it would be a healthy outlet for him, since we're not a big sports family. But I also thought biathlon would be good. I don't know why. I just, I wanted to think outside the box, but being a single parent, it was very hard to make those things happen because not every school in Vermont has a biathlon team. In fact,
probably none, right?
None. I had to go searching. I found one down at Dartmouth.
They probably do it, right?
I made some initial phone calls, but...
He was a good cross-country skier and marksman.
No, actually, he was not, but he could have been. And also could have been a great sheep herder.
You think?
Yeah.
Well, what's the movie
dogs.
Babe where is it the pig wants to be a border collie?
Is it really?
Yeah, right. And so maybe we could make a sequel where your son wants to be a border collie, so he actually is the one doing the herding.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
If you whistle to him, will he take commands?
No, I don't think so. No, he never took a command that I recall. It was tough having teenagers, especially.
Yeah,
you'll be moving into that soon.
We will.
Sooner than you care to imagine.
In New Zealand, when I worked on the sheep farm, it's pretty cool when you have like a dog and you whistle to it and it goes, left, right, or push back, and you feel very powerful when you have delegates out there rounding up sheep the way you want them to.
I could watch those movies forever, taken by drones of the big herds of sheep being
pushed one way or
taken
another.
across the I was going to say the tundra, but it's not. It's the heath or something like that.
Right.
It's yeah, it's beautiful.
The
But,
moors. The moors.
The moors.
Of
The moors.
of Chelsea.
Yes, the moors of Chelsea. The fjords of Chelsea.
They take the sheep across the fjords.
In boats.
Right. Have
Yeah.
you ever read what's the one Far from the Madding Crowd by Thomas Hardy?
I think I did at one point.
There is a sheep herder in that, and he's training this dog, new sheep dog, and it's so enthusiastic. At one point, it pushes all these sheep out the wrong gate, and they go over a cliff and all die.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, it's.
Oh,
the
I want to read
saddest
that
scene.
again.
And the dog comes back like, "Look what I did! I did a good thing."
Oh no.
It's really sad.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you're a sheep lover, it's a really hard scene.
Yeah.
Or a dog lover.
Yeah.
Or want to be a world-class shepherd.
Well, life is a tragedy and a comedy, probably in equal measure. So, if you're on one or the other side, you have to remember consciously, make yourself remember about the other side. So,
When you push the sheep over the fjord, into the fjord,
Yeah,
then
if
you have to
you-
remember life's a comedy.
that's right. If you happen to make that mistake, just take a step back. Think about how funny it is. But, speaking of funny, people are so funny when you meet them at the general store and you have these really strange impromptu exchanges that are sometimes inappropriate. Do you know? It kind of burbles out.
Or awkward.
Yeah,
Like inappropriate. Like what?
Well, I don't know. The other day I was up at Flanders Market and I bumped into Spike. You know Spike? And,
Yes.
he turns to me. Yeah, and he says, "Whoa, you're looking good for an old person." So that was great. And I just, I very cheerfully said back to him, "Thank you.
Get a new haircut,
Thank
Spike.
you." I just said, "Thank you. I'm 58 years old." And he looked a little surprised that I would actually blurt out my actual age. And he said, "What?" And I said, "I'm 58 years old." And then he followed that up with, "So, I bet you like those pigs next door to you." We have a pig farm, hundreds of pigs next door.
Right, that's right, yeah.
So
he knew about it since he's like the mayor of Chelsea and knows all this stuff.
Exactly. So it's just funny when you bump into people. And you, being a selectman, that must be even more, adding layers and layers upon layers of potential oddness and awkwardness.
Sometimes, right.
And joy and goodwill. There's all of it mixed together, and that's what living in a small town is all about. So
That's true. Mm-hmm. Spike looks exactly the same as he has for like 50 years. Like if you have that, white t-shirt, green Dickies pants, and a crew cut,
yeah.
and you're a good-looking guy, right, you can just pull that off for like 50 years.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I don't know why just women can't generally do that crew cut thing, but I would like to. I saw a picture of Katie Lang this morning where she had real short hair and glasses, and she had a nice suit coat on with a tie, just like a guy would. I thought, man, that could have been my look. But I think I'm beyond it now. I don't think I could really back up to that.
This was like a recent photo, Katie Lang?
Yeah.
So she looks
sporty.
the same or looks good, right?
Yeah, she really does.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just got veered off the track into women's clothing,
Well, or what? But you'll probably look the same in 20 years. Do people go like, does Spike go, "Wow, you look a lot older than you did at 30"? Or he still recognizes you, right?
Yeah.
So that's good.
Yeah. Hey, it was a compliment, right?
You still look more or less the same.
Yeah, I took it as a compliment. Why not?
Right, I know.
You really can't take offense at things. Well, you can, but it's better not to. So we have a few more minutes on the show. You all have been listening to 11th Hour Radio. What is it? WFVR FM LP in Vermont, right in the middle of the state. Dang it. And I'm here with John Obrien, who is my neighbor, sort of. And he hasn't really revealed that much about himself, but he is a sheep farmer and a filmmaker and a writer, etc., etc.
Sheep herder.
Sheep.
Not world class.
Well, Well, you move them around. I've seen you. I was at your wedding, and you were moving a bunch of sheep.
They'll follow
on the
me.
way to the altar. Yeah.
That's why I've never really needed a sheepdog, because mostly the sheep just follow me.
Yeah, you're more like the Pied Piper.
Right.
That's kind of your archetype model.
Then rats follow the Pied Piper. Rats follow me everywhere. I have a charisma.
Well, no, also children followed him.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, it started with... Which did it start with, the rats or the kids?
What's the difference?
It all mixes up in my head. It's all mushed in there. Talk about like all the parallel lives mushed into one, and what do you get?
We've come all the way
Wow,
around to
you
smush
get an
lives
adult,
again.
yeah. Yeah, you get a strange adult. That's what we are, we're strange adults. But what percentage of people aren't a little strange?
0.
Yeah, because you can't see some of the strange things. The people who look the most conventional probably have.
Yeah, what's normal? When you really look behind closed doors, I don't think anybody's really normal. Or if they are, then you wouldn't want to be normal like that.
It's all part of the same organism.
Like, who's the most normal person you know?
Somebody popped in my head, but I'm not going to say it on the air. That would be
Just
rude.
their initials.
Because what are we trying to say with somebody that we're commenting
like,
that someone's
good?
normal?
Is normal the norm, right?
Yeah, when I think of normal, I think of somebody who just goes through life following a certain... What is it? I can't put my finger on it. They just have a certain decorum to their life that fits in with the place that they've chosen to live, and they are not extreme in any sense. They just kind of walk the middle road. Generally, they're pleasant. Somebody who's normal would be pleasant, functional.
So normal's pleasant? Like, maybe not, really. I don't know. Right, most people are sort of pleasant, but maybe, they're not pleasant.
Well, if you're walking that sort of average path, then you don't have any reason to get upset. You're trying not to get upset. Because if you really live on the extremes, you get upset a lot, you get emotional, you have passion, you have whatever. Maybe normal seems a little passionless to me.
Maybe.
Yeah, John's kind of nodding, considering possibly.
But then you think of it, and they're not actually. Do you know anybody like this? Or everybody seems to have, worries about their children or money or getting old or not being recognized in the general store.
And I think that anybody can be a hero given the right set of circumstances. I think human beings all have the capacity to be extraordinary. And that's the plain truth. You just don't always see it. People don't wear it on their sleeves, and circumstances sometimes dictates it. But
right. I thought of if I made movies that were complicated, a good movie would be a really good person and a very not good person, and the not good person in a moment of crisis, just from instinct or something, saves the person from the burning car, and they're the hero. But it doesn't. What does that mean, though? It just means
that's how it is.
At one moment they did something maybe extraordinary, but the rest of their life they're really a crappy person.
Well, but what's a life? A life can be filled with all kinds of miracles, or a life can be boring or unsuccessful. But how many lives do we have?
But it's not always necessarily the generous person or the kind person who might be a hero at a critical moment. And it could be the mean person or the ungenerous person who could do it.
Yeah, but you can't really weigh the two against each other. It's all part of what it means to be human. And
exactly.
Yeah, some people bring more sort of daily virtue to bear, and other people just show up at one particular critical juncture and make it all happen. So,
how do you think you would perform in a crisis?
I have no idea. I often ponder that, and I don't know.
Yeah, you come around a corner and there's a car burning. Do you think would
you risk your life to go? And,
exactly.
I don't know the answer to that. I could not predict. So.
Yeah, that's
anyway,
a hard one.
I'm sure I have stories in my past where I either did or didn't perform well. But we're getting to the end of our show. We have about 3 minutes here. And so...
It goes fast.
It goes fast. And we could go another hour, but I guess they won't let us. There's important music that needs to be played.
Right.
So it's been great to have you on the show, John Obrien. I hope you come back sometime when Emily is detained. And we'll have another conversation I'm your host, Kristina Stykos, and thanks for listening. We're going to go out on a track of music from my friend Stefan Lunden from Sweden. And I can't pronounce it, so I'll just play it. See you next week.
Jag kör rakt genom väggen in i landskapet med makt. Jag håller inget heligt, inget alls. Jag säger inget ännu, kanske vet du vad jag sagt. När röken skingras kring mig får du se. Om jag har förändrats till det bättre eller vad. Det tog mig tid att komma till din stad. För en helig vind förde mig långt bort. För en helig vind, den smekte mig helt kort. Ja, den smekte mig helt kort. Jag ser ju din förvåning, men det är bara som det ska. Ingen var väl väntad, minst sagt jag. En labyrint av gåtor, det var vad man lagt ut. Och piskor fanns i Halmstad för en var. Överallt man spekade sig själv och kände skuld. Ingenstans man gladdes åt sitt guld. För en helig vind förde mig långt bort. För en helig vind, den smekte mig helt kort. Den smekte mig helt kort. Hos folken finns det kärlek kvar, det ser jag klart min vän. Hoppet föds i myllan vid din fot. Men uppe där i Babels hus, där råder det förbud. Där klär man sig i säck och aska slut. Det är då du vinner mark igen, du som är så fin. Trots att allt det andra går i sig. För en helig vind förde mig långt bort. För en helig vind, den smekte mig helt kort. Ja, den smekte mig helt kort. Kanske kan vår flotta segla ut igen på nytt, styrkt av helig vind och kopparslöst. Förväntansfulla själar vinkar glatt i våran hamn, och hela långa vägen längs vår kust. Det är dags att sopa banan nu med missmodets män. Äntligen får känna vi kom hem. För en helig vind förde mig långt bort. För en helig vind, den smekte mig helt kort. För en helig vind, den förde mig långt bort. För en helig vind, den smekte mig helt kort. Ja, den smekte